Today we'll be making a background using a few different art materials. One material is oil pastel, another material is tempera water paint. What we're going to do is first we're going to draw a picture with our white oil pastel on white paper. This will be a hidden picture, as you know, because we can't really see white oil pastel on white paper very easily while we're making it. Something to keep in mind is that this will be a background. So we're going to want to fill the whole paper and know that some of it will get covered up as we work. One thing you can do to help see your picture as you draw it is you can tilt it sometimes, and it's easier to see the oil pastel on the paper in real life than it is on the camera. So you can see what I'm doing a little better. I'm going to make an example on a paper with a Sharpie marker. However, you'll be using the white oil pastel as you are drawing. So since this is a background, and we want a winter theme, I am choosing to draw a lot of snowflakes. You can make a snowflake however you want. If you find it easier to make an 8-sided snowflake by making an X and making lines through it, that's one way you could make a snowflake. I personally like a little bit better the style where I make a skinny X and then do one more line through it. That gives me a 6-pointed snowflake, which is just a little bit more realistic. But yours could be done however you want it to be. In addition to drawing snowflakes in different sizes, I'm also trying to fill up the entire paper, going all the way to the edges. And some of my snowflakes could be more detailed, some of them could be more simple. You could also do little tiny circles or dots for really little snowflakes. You can see in this finished one, I've got a lot of variety in my snowflakes, and I've really considered filling in the whole paper with my drawings and designs, because eventually part of this is going to get covered up with another artwork we glue on top. And our paper might be vertical, our paper might be horizontal, so don't get super stuck to one direction of our paper. We want to draw lots of snowflakes all over with our oil pastel, filling in the whole space, using a variety of sizes, and knowing that because we're making a background, part of it'll get covered eventually. After you've drawn your picture with oil pastel, and remember we want to press hard enough to make a thick line so that this next part will work, we're going to use water paint to paint over top. I'm going to start with a brush that has some water on it, and then I will swirl it in whatever color I want to use. Remember, I want to swirl near the tallest point of the paint because that's where the paint is. If I put my brush at the bottom, there's no paint down there. I want to go for the tallest part of the paint. And then because we're trying to see our oil pastel, I want to make sure that I'm painting over just one time. If I paint back and forth, it might end up covering my picture. I also want to use enough water as I am painting. If my brush has too much paint on it, the oil pastel might not pop through as easily, and I might not see it as well. And if it does get a little covered, that's okay, because remember, this is just a background. It doesn't have to be perfect. We just want to try our best. So I'm using different colors here as I paint, and I'm going to keep filling in the paper. You don't have to do stripes if you don't want to. If you wanted to do more random color patches or some kind of different way of adding color, that's okay. Just remember, we don't want to paint over each part too many times because we still want to try to be able to see the oil pastel. If it gets covered a little bit, that's okay, but hopefully if you're using enough water in your paint, it'll poke up through the water paint just like it's doing right here. When you're done painting the entire background, check for empty white spaces that might need a little more paint, and it might look something like this or something like this, and you'll follow directions for cleanup.